And I believe that is the number one enemy of everyone, is not understanding what is actually going on in the world. It's only when you start to understand that you can make effective decisions and effective plans. Now, the question is, who is promoting ignorance? Well, those organisations that try to keep things secret, and those organisations which distort true information to make it false or misrepresentative. In this latter category, it is bad media. It really is my opinion that the media in general are so bad, we have to question whether the world wouldn't be better off without them altogether. They're so distortive to how the world actually is, that the result is we see wars and we see corrupt governments continue on. One of the hopeful things that I've discovered is that nearly every war that has started in the past 50 years has been a result of media lies. The media could have stopped it if they had searched deep enough. If they hadn't reprinted government propaganda, they could have stopped it. But what does that mean? Well, that means basically populations don't like wars. And populations have to be fooled into wars. Populations don't willingly, with open eyes, go into a war. So if we have a good media environment, then we'll also have a peaceful environment.
Julian Assange, thank you very much.
Lobo from the Oligarchy News Network. A new study shows that no one reads books and we should burn them all and stop printing. Back to you, Bill.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Eve, holy crap.
Yeah, you see, these are books, and they can teach you a lot about yourself and the world. This book is Julian Assange's, and it will help you understand geopolitics. So while we're on the subject, we should work to free him from political persecution.
Today we're alone outside the Ecuadorian embassy, where nobody cares about Julian Assange. Back to you, Bill.
Great work. Now let's get the fuck out of here, Rachel.
Hey, get back here. We care about Julian Assange.
under house arrest, and almost 5 years here in this embassy without sunlight. My children grew up without them. That is not something that I can forgive. It is not something that I can forget. It's something that I hope will be more than just about me. Because the reality is, detention and extradition without charge has become a feature of the European Union.
woman, when you walk my way with your pepper spray, all I can do is watch your hips sway. So come on now, police woman in your blue uniform, let me turn you on. Arrest me, harass me, arrest me. Police woman, don't you know that I will turn you on with your own baton? I will turn you on with your handcuffs on. Come on, police woman in your blue uniform, let me turn you on. All I can do is watch your hips sway when you walk my way, police woman.
Please talk. Can someone talk to me? Can someone actually just tell me where the US Embassy staff are? No, they're not answering. So the British High Commission are not answering the door to 2 British citizens wanting to ask questions. Pretty shoddy. And it's raining now. 3rd venue today.
And the Swedish episode was just a bogus rehearing. The US Constitution protects publishers and journalists. This crime was just to have broken the silence. It provided, shown that we're complicit by failing to speak out against illegal wars and the attacks on this journalist who's actually provided the real truth and the deceit of Western governments. There's no investigative journalism in our lifetime who's equal the importance in terms of the information he has provided through WikiLeaks. He's called rapacious power to account. He's shown that our governments are supporting 70% of the military, including Saudi Arabia, which has an appalling record in terms of human rights and the treatment of women. It also is attacking on behalf of the United States Yemen, and we know that millions of people are at threat now in Yemen of starvation because they're closing the last port there, which is providing the humanitarian aid. At the same time, the drone execution that we don't really hear of innocent people all through the Middle East and any part of the world. Malcolm Turnbull can remain silent, or he can seize this opportunity and use his government's diplomatic influence to defend the life of an Australian citizen, a really top Australian citizen whose courageous public service is recognised by countless people across the world. He can bring Julian Assange home, and that's what we ask him to do right now.
Thank you. Right, we're gonna take it away now. Bye-bye beehive until the next time. This will be where we come for emergency action. There's been a few people walking past today taking an interest, which is great. It's just what we want. Some people are like, who's Julian? That astounds me really, but anyway. Some people are like, we're with her, and I think those people really need to do some more investigation. But anyway, here we are. Free speech, freedom of press. Not 1984 if we can help it.
Everyone has heard of Pinterest. This is what it looks like before you log on. It's the home of cats. And more cats. And even more cats. And even some useful collections of information, like art galleries of the world. But why would Unity for J people want to use it? Because so long as you sign in with a Pinterest logon, you will find a rapidly expanding library that will help you do your research, write your blogs, dress your tweets and Facebook entries with good quotes, and generally support Julian Assange and WikiLeaks more effectively and with less effort. So what's in here? The top part of the page has resources for learning and writing about Julian and WikiLeaks. We start off with info and donations, which takes you to various official sources. Notice how a link shows when you hover over a pin. So if you want to donate to Julian's Legal Defence Fund, find that pin and click the link. Instant access is in a separate window. When you're done donating, just close that window and go back to the Pinterest tab. All the major WikiLeaks publications are here in roughly chronological order. The chronological order of some boards is not exact, but Pinterest wasn't really designed for this purpose and makes it difficult. Sometimes extra entries are added to a board. In this case, the criteria WikiLeaks uses for publishing items. As with all pins, if we want to see the image enlarged, we click on the plus sign, and there it is. Want to see where that list of criteria came from? Just click the link. If the source is a video, you will usually be taken to the exact part of the video, but when it is a long article or transcript like this, you may need help. Just use the find function on your browser and it'll appear. We don't have time to look at all the research boards, but two that can be really helpful are Small Bits and Speaking. Small Bits is a collection of quotes in meme form linked to the source of the meme. The WikiLeaks principle of scientific journalism is that all things presented to a reader should be linked to source, so they can see and judge for themselves the accuracy of what you're saying. If you want to use these memes, you just right-click on the expanded image and Save Image As to download it to your own computer. Don't forget to associate it with the source link when you tweet or blog it, as you want to follow the WikiLeaks scientific journalism model. There's a growing collection of Julian Assange's speeches too, some with transcripts. Again, these are in roughly chronological order and are linked to the videos themselves. There's also an index at the top, which grows with every speech added. Click on it to explore the spreadsheet version of these speeches. The other research boards work the same ways. Recognition, which shows the prizes that Julian and WikiLeaks have won. Books. All the episodes of the 2012 Julian Assange show. And films about WikiLeaks. Where these are hostile, some commentary has been included too. Then we move into the fields of art related to Julian and WikiLeaks, often sourced from tweets, and music linked to videos or SoundCloud where appropriate. There's lots of legal stuff in law and lawyers, including links to relevant judgments. There's a small bit on Julian as a child and quite a bit more on what other people, OPs, have said about Julian in speech, writing, and some short quotes you can use too. Then we get to other resources mostly created by Unity for J. All the vigil videos are here, linked to the videos of course, plus a board for the vigil speakers. Then quotes from the vigils that you can download and use for tweets, blogs, articles, etc. At the moment, each is just linked to the video the quote came from. As we get more time, we'll try to link to the exact place in the video. If someone wants to volunteer to help with that task, that'd be great. Tasty Tweets is a collection of timeless tweets if you've run out of stuff of your own to say. Find one that appeals and click on the Twitter link. You'll be taken straight to Twitter, where you can just retweet that tweet. How simple is that? Then you can sign petitions, help to get more awards for Julian and WikiLeaks, find graphics to download, and see lots of suggestions for getting advice. Here are things that other people have been doing, mostly picked up from their tweets. Your action can be here too if you bring it to our attention. This Pinterest page currently has more than 1,000 pins and we're just getting started. Recommended to friends who want to know about Unity for J but don't want to come to Discord. This is another way to share our collective knowledge and resources. We hope you enjoy the Pinterest page, make it popular and use it a lot to improve public knowledge about Julian Assange, WikiLeaks and their fight for truth in journalism and justice in the world.
Hi everybody, welcome to today's WikiBees. You're probably hoping to see Susie here, but as you remember from yesterday, she was very croaky. She's got the flu at the moment, and today she just can't speak at all and she's exhausted. And so we're trying to put something together without her.
Hello, Bruce.
Hey, Kathy. Kathy Bogan's just joined.
I'm sorry I'm late. I was not at home overnight, and I've just been driving at high speed to get back while here today. So I would very much like to talk about the documentary, and I'd like to present the editing platform. And I do have news because Abon has agreed to let us use 17 terabytes of storage. So Abon, are you there? Hi, how are you? It was a bit of a rush to get back. I couldn't make it by 11. What's wrong with Susie? Is she all right? Is it just her flu that's got bad again?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's fine because I have plenty to say, which I wanted. Can you hear me all right today, by the way? Good, because yeah, I was looking for my USB headset yesterday, and it was sitting right in front of me inside it. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Stupid. My stupid intro clip for my YouTube channel. I just want to get up Frame.io, which is the editing platform that I think is going to be the best for us. Now, what I have a plan, Abon. So can you still hear me all right?
Yes, I'm sorry. I forgot that I muted myself on OBS, so no one could hear me. So basically, I'm just saying that what I said earlier, Susie is sick. She's recovering. She can barely speak, so she's trying to rest. Cat Memer Elizabeth, she's also recovering and can't really come on tonight. Floor doesn't speak online, and she has coughing fits. Kitty is busy, so it's pretty much Bruce. Bruce has got to go in like 5 minutes, I think. And so,
are we live already?
Yes, we are.
Oh, great. So hello, everybody. So can Abon, well, we might as well discuss the plan that I have. So the editing platform, which I think is going to be really fantastic to cut this long format documentary, which is, you know, we've got a few hundred, a couple of hundred, maybe 300 hours of material. So we need a really good editing platform so that we can edit collaboratively, and everybody can get access to the same editing project. Also, process of review and approval, so people will be able to come in and look at the stuff while it's being edited and put notes for the editors. In terms of, you know, anything that can be added, subtracted, or modified, I don't know, or of course, approved. So it's really, really efficient. Now, so up until now, we've had two obstacles to getting started. So the first one is money, I guess. But in terms of money, what was that going to pay for? Well, number one, the subscription, the group subscription to the editing platform, which is not all that expensive. It's only for a group license about $42 or something a month, which is for 4 licenses. Oh, actually, no, that was Adobe. In fact, Frame.io, you get a lot more. I don't even know if it's limited. So it means that a lot of people can be in that editing project together, and each working on different sequences at the same time. It's just brilliant. So not a big obstacle, and I calculated it about $180 for 4 months, which, you know, we may need a bit more, but I think we may be able to. I've never cut a long format documentary with so many people helping before. I usually take 6 weeks from go to woe as a broadcast editor once all of the material has been accumulated and we capture it. So it does take a long time to look at everything and then invent an order for all that, because there's no script. No, it's not like a feature film. There's no script to follow. So it really to be able to achieve that in any documentary, even a short one, you really need to create efficient bookmarks so that you can find everything. The editor can find everything in an instant, in almost one click or a couple of clicks. They can find anything within those 200 or 300 hours. Retrieval is really important, and also knowing what's there. Labeling markers, very, 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 very short labels, but especially if you interview somebody for 3 hours, or in our case, an hour, they're talking for an hour, it's the same image the whole time. So it's very important to place markers, or you're going to spend all of your editing time looking for stuff. So that's why I've been sort of holding people back a bit. No, don't start editing yet, because then we can't adjust those. So I have a plan now, because I spoke to Abon yesterday, and I hope he's still okay. So it was 17 terabytes you were talking about, Abon?
Yeah, I mean, about 16 terabytes would be pretty easy to set up. Something more along more than that, I can probably cluster together a couple of servers. But I mean, 16 terabytes should be okay.
Well, I'm thinking that's going to be okay, because in fact, all of our assets are not the really sort of big files that you get with broadcast material, where the file sizes are about 10 times larger, up to 40 times larger. So in fact, we've been creating all of the material in a low file size format, right? So that's fine, MP4, yeah? The files don't take up much space per minute. So I think 16 terabytes is absolutely adequate. Now, my plan is that I'm perfectly happy to advance the money for the group subscription so we can get Frame.io immediately. And then when we get our website up and running, and this is another little thing that's been holding us back, when the website is up and running, then we can start our fundraiser campaign for the documentary. And if you remember, that's what Susie was discussing, that it's best not to fundraise just for, Unity 4J per se. It's much more transparent to actually separate it into a number of achievable goals, and then people know exactly what they're donating for. They approve of this, they want to do that, and they fund that. And so we have a series of lots of little funders for people's separate projects, right? And then it's very, the success of those projects, those fundraisers really depend on the particular merits of the project. And of course, with our Pinterest, for example, as a glowing example, I was saying to Fleur, it's one of the jewels in our crown, this resource to search things, which, that's the kind of efficiency that I want to set up in the editing project as well. So, right. So what remains to be done before I actually pay for it, because I can test it, I can fully test it online with a friend of mine who's an old broadcast friend in Austria at the moment, and Vienna, and he was the one who recommended Frame.io. I was going to go for Adobe Anywhere, which is the same price, but Frame.io is new. And they're offering so much more that we really need in terms of the people who are contributing, in terms of the documentation, transcriptions, all the stuff that Fleur actually does. And also that process, if we're going to have multiple editors, that there is a process where we can all look and leave our comments and say, hey, what about that shot? So all of our minds can work well together. So I can actually test Frame.io. And what I would, the other thing is that we just need to really test that it is going to work well with the speed of the connection that you are going to lend us, Ebon. You were worried about bandwidth because it needs to be high bandwidth, but in fact, in the specs of these programs, they are assuming that you're working with high quality 4K footage, and all of our footage is in HD, 1920 by 1080. trying not to get too technical here. So in fact, what I propose to do is, if Abon, if we can just get a little bit of material onto that storage space that you were proposing to let us use to cut the doco, then Leonard and I, my friend in Vienna, can actually try to do a collaborative edit together with the material in place. And if that is working tickety-boo, then we're away. I will pay for the 4-month subscription, which is a little under 200 Australian dollars. I can, at the moment, I'm not a wealthy person, but at the moment I can afford to wait until we get our site up and our crowdfunder for the documentary, because we are going to need a little bit more money, I would say, further down the track. I can't really anticipate what for, because everyone's working for free, so we don't need it for salaries. But there may be other things that we need to spend some money on. Maybe, I don't know, maybe even travel for somebody to go and interview somebody, but that's not even likely, because we use Zoom and everybody can get to us. So what do you say to that plan, Abon?
That's good. We should test it out first. I'll try to get my server set up. Right now, my upload speed is only 25 megabits per second. For 1080p video, that might be okay.
In MP4?
Yeah, MP4.
Low bit rate, yeah.
And
should be fine.
If we need something more, I'll see if I can set up some type of a business setup with around here, where it might be something a lot faster for upload speeds.
Well, that's right, because that could be the other major factor in expense. So the subscription, we might have to take it more than 4 months, but also if the speed of rate of transfer, if we can't get fluid playback in our editing, then we can't really edit efficiently. So that's the other thing that we might have to spend money on. But my hunch is that it's going to be fine. We don't need ultra high bandwidth to use the kind of files that we're going to be using. We don't have the big broadcast files. Well, some of us do on our local machines. I certainly work in full quality, and then I make a version to upload to the internet. But I like to keep there's an old habit with a broadcast editor. You always keep a full quality, just in case it ever gets broadcast on television, and they only want that. Yeah. All right. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Does that sound like a plan? Could you get some of our material on? Say just one or two speakers that we can cut between, and cut something in length, and I can do a bit, then I can pass that to Leonard, and because it's a brand new platform, there may be some glitches, but the advantage is, because we would probably be the first major project that Frame.io is going to have on its on its system, they might be very, very accommodating with us. And I know that developers of software, this is really funny, because I've worked with the Apple Alliance in Australia, and I was collecting bug reports from the Australian Broadcast Corporation for them, from all the editors, because those software developers of editing software never edited. They never actually edited. And so they would actually have things that were really crazy, like when you initially, the Apple editing program, when you zoomed into the timeline, the playback cursor would fly off the screen. And you think, oh my God, that's the most stupid thing in the world, because I zoom in and now I've got to go looking for my cursor. So it was version 3 before somebody said to them, why don't you put a sticky on the playback cursor so when people zoom in, it's still there? You can hardly imagine that, but that was back about 2000. So anyway, I would love to move ahead with that, because I know that everybody in the video team, and even other people as well that are coming in on Discord and saying that they are they're really keen to participate in this, and they want to get started. It's been a little while now since we decided to do this. Susie asked me to coordinate it because of because I am broadcast, that's my speciality, and workflows especially for major broadcasters all around Australia and the BBC. Ooh, yeah, the BBC too. I used to troubleshoot them at night. So workflows, editing workflows for large broadcast teams, many different departments, that's actually is my expertise. So I can manage this really, really well for everybody if they just trust me. And yeah, I'll just hold back on the editing part because you'll have plenty of time for editing once we get it in the place, and then you'll just see how wonderful it is. So the other thing that I wanted to do, just to inspire you, was to show you our editing platform. It's just a little under 3-minute clip of how the editing platform works. Would you like to see it, Abon and Bruce?
Sure, and Christian stopped in.
Yes.
Christian, if you want to say hi.
Oh yeah, because I'm looking at my internet browser window and not my Zoom window. Oh, now I can see. Hi, Christian. Yeah.
Hi, Kathy. Hi, everybody.
What I propose to do is to share my screen for the next 3 minutes and show you this wonderful editing platform that is, you know, to be honest, I know we're not supposed to do ads, but this is not an ad. This is just an assessment from somebody who works in this field. I think it's leaving the Adobe platform for dead. It really is. And you'll all be able to see how you will actually be able to get in and participating in this editing project, even if you're not an editor, the graphists and everything. All right, so I will share my screen and I'll just show you the little intro clip of how it works. I just do share, don't I? And there's a desktop one, Avon. That's the way, isn't it?
You can, or you can just share the specific application that you want to share.
Oh, right, okay. Oh yeah, the Google Chrome. I can see it now. Is that going to work? It seemed to be. Oh, right. I need to hit share. Right. Duh. Okay, can you see my window now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, lovely. All right, but you've got. Do you have my Zoom window as well, or is that just me who can see? Do I need to minimize my Zoom window with all of the speakers?
No, you don't. It handles all that.
Yeah, it's just selected Chrome. Fantastic. All right, here goes.
Can you turn on the audio? Is there any audio with it?
I can hear the audio. You can't. Yes, all right. Should I just do the desktop one then, and maybe
No. So when you click on when you first click on share in Zoom, there will be a checkbox on the bottom left saying play audio. Share audio.
Computer audio.
Yeah.
All right.
So go and click that, and then do the same thing.
If I click it and share computer sound, I see it now. Sorry about that, folks. I'll just wind it back. Oh, excuse me.
We don't. There. You shared your Discord.
How are we going?
Share your Chrome. So you may have to stop your share.
Right.
Yeah.
Stop share. Talk about an anticlimax. And so share and share my. Yeah, because it's moved place now. Where is it? My Chrome. Google Chrome. Found it. Share computer sound. Share. And let's see. All good?
Welcome to Frame.io, the video collaboration platform for the world's premier video creators. Let's get you started with the basics. Click the plus button to create your first project. Upload files by simply dragging and dropping. Our uploader is crazy fast, up to 5 times faster than Dropbox. If you're working in Premiere, After Effects, or Final Cut Pro, you can upload directly from the timeline using one of our free integrations. Flavor scrubbing gives you an instant preview of your videos. You can even press spacebar to quick look. When you need a secure way to work with an external vendor or client, add them as a collaborator. Collaborators will only have access to the project they were invited to. The player is where the magic happens. You can leave notes and drawings directly on the video frame. As soon as you start typing, the video pauses. And when you press enter, it resumes. Clicking a comment on the right will take you to the exact frame where it was left. No more endless email threads with confusing notes and instructions. When you upload your next version, you can keep things organized by dragging the new version on top of the old, creating a version stack. You can then cycle between versions in the player or even compare versions side by side. Labels help you communicate the status of a clip to your team. Changing a label will let you choose whom to notify. If you're using our Creative Cloud integrations, comments show up in Premiere and After Effects in real time. Clicking a comment will take you to that exact frame in your timeline. You can also manually import comments into Final Cut Pro 10 and Media Composer. When you want to share a video with someone outside of Frame.io, you have two options. Sharing as a review page gives your clients and stakeholders a focused view of only the assets they need to see. Anyone with the review page link can watch and leave comments. No login required. Sharing as a presentation creates a simple viewing page where your brand is front and center. Presentations are great for showing off your finished work and delivering final assets in a beautiful design that represents your company. Oh, by the way, did I mention all of these features are available in our award-winning iPhone app? Because as much as we all love our workstations, you've got places to be. Frame.io is your command central for video. Everything you need to keep the creative process moving. So let's get started. Go ahead and create your first project.
Okay, folks, your thoughts, because I'm just going, ah!
Looks wonderful, Katie.
I know. This is just made for us. They're just they're the new kids on the block, and it's just ingenious that you can be part of the editing project even on your phone when you're on the move. This is complete. Sorry, I just I should let someone else talk, because that's the kind of stuff that gets me very excited.
I know, this is great. We want to hear more.
Yeah, well, look, I'm going to test this with Leonard, and we worked as integrators, broadcast integrators together. So we'll, and I used to test all the systems in this way, push them to their limits so that I could give Apple feedback and stuff like that, because they were developing Final Cut to be a broadcast standard. It wasn't quite until version 6. But then all the broadcasters bought it, and it still wasn't quite ready. So, but I would push everything to its limits, for multi-channel work, multi-screen work, editing, when you shoot with multiple cameras, and really load it up and just see where I could break it, which is what they wanted. So we'll thoroughly test that, and I'm sure they will be very, very helpful. If we want things modified in any way, we can help shape this and make it. It'd be hard to imagine at this stage how you could make it that much better, but it's really about the load. That's where you have to test it, where you've got all those assets in there and you're working with multiple tracks on the timeline. That's where we've got to just make sure that we do still have that fluidity in the playback. Now, the other thing that everybody will have noticed, the editors may be jumping for joy, because it doesn't matter whether you use Premiere, After Effects, and so this is where it equals Adobe Anywhere, but it also accommodates it can actually sync up with people's Final Cut Pro 10 projects as well. So you can actually edit locally, but then you just upload your sequence into the project. You copy it, yeah, and that hooks up with the copy of all of the assets that we've got in our primary storage. Sorry, she's getting technical again. So there you go. And you will have noticed at one point you can even load comments and things like that into Media Composer, although it doesn't interface fully yet with Media Composer, but I mentioned that is just around the corner. But I would imagine that most of our editors are using Adobe Premiere. It's the most popular, and possibly some using Final Cut as well. I use them all because some are good for some things. But there you go. So everybody's role, all the production roles are accommodated for, and those people, those team members are fully integrated into this system. So I think it's just going to be a breeze for us cutting the documentary on this format. That's my assessment so far.
Can you on Discord maybe add in 2 more channels under the Unity 4J doco? One would be the hardware requirements. That would include things like the bandwidth, and then another channel that might go with the software, collaboration software, which for now the frame.io, so you can kind of post any new information and the results of setting up the storage server with the frame.io and how things are going, so people can get an update on if that's a go or not a go.
I definitely will, and I off air, I mean, outside Wikibase, and I will consult fully with you. We'll have to work together to be able, once I get it set up, then to just connect it with your storage space. And Leonard is really, my friend in Vienna, is really keen to test it as quick as possible. We both love these toys, we get a lot of fun testing things. Somebody has to do it, and it's better that there's people who love doing it. Oh, this is a new toy. How does it work?
So Christian has to go. I just want to say bye to Christian. Thanks for stopping by, Christian.
Did Christian want to say something? Because he didn't get to say anything. Is he gone?
Yeah, he just had to leave. Yeah.
All right. Well, at least everybody got a glimpse of that. I don't have a great deal more to say. I mean, I could have things to say about what's happening in Ecuador, about Jorge Glass's hunger strike, but that's not really part of the Wikibase thing. It's more of a vigil thing, isn't it? So it's really bad. But I think Moreno is showing his true colors.
Yeah, Kathy. Yeah, that looks excellent. That looks really outstanding. Before we move on to that, can you answer a couple of questions from the people in the YouTube session?
Oh yes, of course. Can you read them to me? Oh.
Yes. Anyway, whoa, it's Kimber said that looks awesome. I'm excited to see how it will work for us. So that's just praise.
Good.
Stephanie Massilia says, so what do we need to do to pay for the $42 a month that will cost?
Okay, so that's when our website is finished, up and running, then we will be able to set up the fundraising page, and that will be itemized fundraising. So there may be, one project for a documentary. There may be another project that, maybe we want to do an event and we need to hire a space or pay some, like when I did the gagging of in Sydney, the gagging of Julian Assange. So that was all going live to air. I do this event every week, just with microphones and speakers on stage. But there we had Susie coming in from Moscow. We had live speakers. We had the audience, and Susie's got to seem like she's in the room, right? Tremendous potential for feedback. So I had to hire an audio engineer for that gig, even though I don't use one usually. I set it up myself, but I needed a professional on that desk because, you know, you only get one chance with a live event. So sometimes you just, and of course, I couldn't thank Avon and Fly and Anya, and we had a team in Discord that were all working together, and they were all there on the back end. I couldn't have done it without the team. But sometimes you need people, and they did a terrific job. Remember the shenanigans, Avon?
Yeah, it's pretty hectic.
We had multiple, in the middle of Christine Assange's speech, we had multiple power failures and the internet, and then then my backup internet connection as well, multiple internet ruptures and multiple power failures. That it was just a miracle that, you know, Avon and Fly and everybody was working so fast, and so was I on site, and we just made it back online and by the skin of our teeth. Isn't that right, Avon? It was about 10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us were just wondering what's going on, what do we do next if she doesn't come back on, and a whole bunch of
oh my stuff. God, we were under cyber attack. Honestly, we were. And we had to run a line right over to the other side of the building to get power back. It was that bad. And they had to set up in those 10 minutes, they had 15 minutes, they had to set up an alternate power sound system with a guitar amp. My sound engineer's on site. So that's when you're in live events and you want to save the event, you need to pay professionals, because that could never have happened without the great expertise of our Unity for JTEX, and also sometimes the people that you have to have on site. Otherwise, it's a great idea, but it's going to fail because you need the real experience to cope with catastrophes, like or if you're under some kind of weird attack. But we were expecting it, and we were fully prepared as well. We did our best to be prepared, and we got it. We won. They couldn't stop us. Who was tweeting, Avon? Was it Fly who was tweeting, they cannot stop us?
I don't remember who, but yeah.
We'd already got Christine uploaded before we even started. So yeah.
The other members of the team were Ania, Django, David S., of course Fly, Joe, and Independent Outsider. So they were there with the backup team.
Yeah. My apologies then for not mentioning their names. It was all such a it was a terrific effort, and I didn't know people so well. When you say Joe was in, because she's I don't even know if it's Joe female or male. Sometimes you don't know. You just, all you know in this world, cyber world, is the mind of somebody. You don't really know their gender or anything if they've got a name where it isn't obvious. So that's the kind of thing that where we need to let people know what their money is going behind. And there may be some things that we do that they say, oh, I don't think that's such a good idea, but oh my gosh, this idea, and the documentary is a good idea, and also the sound engineer is a good idea, because if not, the whole thing could fail. We will only ask for what we can't do ourselves. We've got a lot of skills between us, but sometimes, especially for live events, there will inevitably be expenses. It could even be travel expenses for a speaker that we want in a particular place in a particular time. So there you go. Was there any other questions?
Oh, that was a good answer. Thank you. Cliff Wallace replied, "Guerrilla broadcasting," with a smile. So I think he enjoyed your story.
It was the world didn't see it because we managed to get back online just as it was time for cut to Susie Dawson in Moscow. In fact, Professor Rees had just said, "Oh well, we'll just do the Q&A with us that are here." And then I just see Susie, and I went, Susie's here. And so the crowd, it was packed, and the crowd just went wild when the Unity for J people won. We got Susie online, and it was such an exciting talk. You should all go and look at it, because there was a really interesting debate between Susie and a guy called Mike Head, who has since written a fantastic article. Oh my God, I'll have to post it out on. I'll have to tweet it out and get you the link. But Mike has written a great article. But there was conflict on the night between Susie and Mike, because he's a left-wing person, and they don't want to collaborate with people who have anything to do with the right. And it's almost like a blanket judgment. That if people, really for me, what's underlying it is some kind of cognitive dissonance that is becoming some kind of principle. But, he couldn't understand why Susie was working with people like Kim.com and Cassandra Fairbanks. And he said really mean things. And Susie just leapt to their defense. And the answer she gave about, Jesus, one achievable goal. Can we not all agree that that's what we want and just work on it, And in the meantime, we might discover more about each other's principles, dialogue about other things. Of course, you're not going to exclude people. But, he kept going. He kept going. And, finally, the crowd were just cheering Susie's attitude. They were cheering the Unity for J attitude, and Professor E said, "Well, Susie, if it's of any value for you, you've just won a lifetime subscription to Politics in the Pub," because we're a left-leaning organization, but it just says on our website, it's always said it, everyone welcome. We are not associated with any political party, and everybody is welcome in here. Because a lot of times it's academics talking and stuff. It's just facts that everybody needs to know. And sometimes you don't get to know them, because of the mainstream media, but also because of general ideologies, those things are inconvenient facts. So I think it's great to be open-minded, and certainly our crowd endorsed that, but also you need to watch it for the extraordinary talk of Christine Assange, who's, she's brilliant like her son. She's a mountain of facts. Everything was 100%, and she rattles them on for over half an hour. Everything was 100% accurate. It was like, it's like interviewing Daniel Ellsberg, He's just a fact machine, and he's got this amazing memory. Even I interviewed him when he was 82. Amazing memory. I never met anyone like Dan. It was like, oh, I'm just going to shut up and let you talk for 5 hours. And he did. So there you go. Are there any more questions?
Well, go ahead.
Oh, okay. That was a great answer. So, I mean, you touched on a couple of points there. One was that Unity for J, you're really talking about that was a debate between very knowledgeable and passionate people about Unity for J versus an alternative approach, which was just one political persuasion, and you don't want people from other political persuasions. And your politics in the pub is somewhat similar to Unity for J in that, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's always been like that. In fact, we have one member in our committee who is a card-holding member of the Liberal Party, and I just explained to Americans that liberal in Australia means right-wing; it doesn't mean left-wing. But Joe is very open-minded, and he actually said, "Look, I joined them to see if I could, figure out how they think and maybe even." Start dialoguing with them. it wasn't an infiltration or anything, but, you know, he's a very open-minded man. They're pretty well all senior citizens in politics in the pub, because it's been going for 30 years and it's always been left-leaning, but everyone welcome no matter what your politics are for 30 years. Yeah. So, yeah, I can see why I affiliated with both.
I mean, for me, I probably wouldn't be helping at all if there was just one side to it, because there's just some agenda associated with any one side going into another side. This is just based on principle of human rights and freedom and justice. And so, you know, if I felt that if it was swaying to some agenda, I would probably just kind of bug out. But I mean, if it's staying the course of what we're currently, the Unity 4J is currently doing, you know, there might be some people that I hate. And, you know, if I hated Susie, I would probably still help out. If I hated you, I would still help out. But fortunately, I like all you guys, so that's a good thing.
Well, that's the thing. I think this attitude is, you know, it's really a prejudice in disguise. It's a value judgment about everything a person might think because they're on, you know, the red team or the blue team. And the whole concept of teams is, you know, is what gets us into trouble in the first place. People's blind loyalty to a particular team that, I'm just saying team because I want to keep the football analogy, that their family have voted for generations, and they don't even think about it. And I come from Northern Ireland originally. I can tell you that that's the case, that the two political parties divide in the same way that the religions do. So, yeah, and unfortunately, you know, well, no, I don't want to get into Northern Ireland politics because it's hotting up again there. We have a great topic coming up at the beginning of next year. Oh, I have to tell you about topic number 2. So we have the future of Ireland after Brexit, because our hosts are the Gaelic Club. It's the Irish Club. I'm Irish too, by the way. Yeah, that is the main obstacle with Brexit. That's the real problem, and the people of Ireland are really frightened it's going to become violent again there. Troubles are going to come back. Week 1, we're trying to save our national broadcaster, who's, you know, just been under attack for many, many years, and their funding cut to ribbons. Week 2, the subject that got up is another topic, another night for Julian. Okay. 14th of February, Valentine's Day, Sydney event for Julian. We haven't got a name for it yet. So let's try and get Unity for J really involved in that, you know, because we're really getting to know each other now and getting to know the technology. So, yeah. And, you know, let's see who we get. I've told them I'm not announcing the guests. We usually lock that in for politics in the pub months in advance, but I'll just wait to see how the situation pans out before deciding who would be the most appropriate speakers. Of course, if we can get Christine back again, that would be terrific, because she's such a motivating speaker, as well as one that you can really rely on for truth, fairness of what she talks about. And, you know, I'm just amazed she holds it together.
Yeah, and that time scale, hopefully you can get Julian, maybe even a
Oh, yes! Julian! Oh, yes. Julian. If Julian were on it, bloody hell. Go ahead, Bruce. I'm interrupting.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Julian's in a terrible situation, so we do need to proceed on that timescale or before that timescale to get him out of there and get him in a better situation. So what we're doing here is quite urgent, really.
Well, that's right. You know, when Ecuador announced that his comms would be put back on again on the 15th of October, and they didn't really happen. But that day, you know, I was overjoyed. That Monday, we were all waiting for him to come back online. And as Susie said, that she didn't think it was going to start tweeting, but just, you know, a sign that he was able to communicate. But in my mind, I thought that we could possibly have him on the next vigil, which would be terrific. I was hoping to get him online before February. If he hasn't been online before February, then, Jesus, a lot of things might have happened. Yeah, so, and we have to be so active in the next couple of months, really, because, that bloody letter that came from America, from the two congressmen, woman and man and woman. There's been a lot of Dems. So there were 8 before, and now there's 9, and there's 1 Republican. But, it was a real coercive ultimatum given to Ecuador. And it just seems that people are just being gotten rid of, silenced, and that's what's happened to the democratically elected vice president. It almost, I think Rafael Correa narrowly escaped, wasn't it? Do you guys? I seem to remember it was Interpol that cancelled the arrest warrant for the president. Yeah. Yeah. Jose. Pardon?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Just jumping in the questions here. So, Robert Roberts asked, can Julian phone and talk to physical visitors still? He's just shut off from the net, isn't he?
We don't know. We don't know. I haven't spoken to Christine for some time. So, it's, and to be quite honest, I just very happy not to know her phone number. She would ring me at an arranged time. It's very important to keep Christine safe. But if I talk to Christine, she might say, yes, I've been able to talk to him on the phone. But I don't know. And Jennifer hasn't let us know if he's actually able to, or Kristen, what level of communications he actually does have. Because I think Susie was saying that his priority might be to talk to his family. He's been cut off from his kids. Physically isolated, but then incommunicado from family, the ones who are the closest to him and his personal friends. He might really want to get that in before taking on that battle. And I think it is going to be a battle for him to, if he does get back, onto the internet again, Julian will stand by his values. And he does have the right to, have a political voice, to express his opinions. It's a human right. It's the right to freedom of expression, and that includes across all platforms. And it's supposed to be unimpeded. So this is a problem. We have a great problem in Ecuador with the rule of law. Rafael Correa saying that Moreno is trampling on the Ecuadorian constitution, which, if you read it, is possibly one of the best constitutions in the world. It, giving rights to nature like Bolivia does. So it's a rare exception that is really aligned with saving our planet. And also Rafael Correa, being president for 10 years, was the most popular ever. He brought most of that country out of poverty in a very real way by reducing inequality. So he made the poor people comfortable again. He put food on their tables. They want this man back. And I think that I was mentioning last time that Moreno was singing at a party, because it was mentioned he liked to sing in an older 2017 article. So I went and had a look. But they were celebrating a victory about policy that would limit a president from coming back and serving again. But then I read since then that it still had to pass through the parliament. It was just an intermediary thing. So I'm not quite sure where they are, whether Korea can come back. But certainly now that he doesn't have Interpol on his back, he's becoming very vocal. He is standing up for Julian, and that's what I was hoping for. We've got the former president that the people love, So that is the strongest ally Julian could have at the moment. If only we could get Scott Morrison, the Australian Prime Minister, or it could be Bill Shorten soon. If so, Bill Shorten, by the way, who's the left-wing candidate for, because our next elections are not so far away. So he's coming on a live-to-air discussion program. It's called Q&A. So if just the public just go there and ask questions, and you can also send video questions in via the internet, are also via Twitter, and also via Facebook. So we've all been, the Unity for J people in Australia have all been flooding his Twitter feed with questions about Julian. Bill, I think it's Shorten Bill, or Bill Shorten, Shorten. If anybody else wants to join in, it's going to be on Monday night, next Monday night, and it will be live to air in Australia. So it's really about the number of RTs on any question, the number of people that are asking, different people that are asking questions about the same topic, that determines whether they have to answer it or not. They can't just decide, I don't want to talk about him, if you've got thousands of people asking, Australians asking. So that's a bit of a drive that we're on at the moment, to get people submitting questions about Julian to Bill Shorten, who will be on a live in a live interview situation for 1 hour on Monday night, and it's critical for his chances in the next Australian election. So if we could get him to commit, he's likely to win anyway. The Liberals have gone right down in the right wing have gone down in popularity because the way they're treating refugees, basically. That's the worst thing. Yeah. So, yep, go ahead.
It's a wonderful opportunity, isn't it? So that's, what day is it, next Monday?
Monday evening, and it's on in Australia. It's on at, I think, at 8:30 in the evening. It's 1 hour long Q&A. Maybe 9 o'clock. You just have to look it up, but it doesn't get broadcast to the world, unfortunately, the ABC.
But we can advertise it from Unity for J still, eh?
Absolutely. But the thing is, and also you can just go there. You can roll up and be part of the live audience. And then when you go as a live audience member, you submit your questions at the door, and then they are selected and given to the guests in the green room before they come on, but not very long beforehand. But they do get time to think about the questions that they're going to be asked before they actually go on, but a very limited time. So if people really support Julian in Australia, they should get their ass to the ABC in Sydney. Ultimo is the, if you're looking for it, on Monday night. And you've got to get there about an hour and a half before.
7 p.m.
Yeah, about that time. Maybe you get there about 7:30 to go in and part of the live audience. Actually, I'm just going to check that as well, because maybe you have to let them know that you're intending to come so they don't overfill it, because they have buses with people coming from the country and everything. People hire coaches to come en masse to Q&A. If it's about farming, or, the main questions, the issues of the day are to do with the farmers, drought, being ripped off by bankers, we're having a banking royal commission, and it's appalling what the Australian banks have been doing to our farmers because of drought. They've not only been taking their property and their houses, but the homes of all their family as well. Very unethical, devaluing their properties and selling them. And people end up with nothing and still these huge millions of dollars of debt.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but so they're in the deep poo at the moment, the Australian banks, and it's not just one; it's been all of them. So there you go. So it might be good to go to the ABC website. I would advise you to do that, because I can't do it right now. Go to the ABC website and just go to Q&A and just find out if you have to notify them. There is still time to do that. And not just roll up because they might, be awful if you came quite a distance and then they wouldn't let you in. But have your question written before you go there. They will choose the best questions, and then you ask it live. If they choose you, the microphone goes to you and you get to ask it.
So
it goes to 1 million people live. It's our most watched program on television. Yeah. So that's really important that we get Julian discussed on Monday night. By the guys is likely to be our next PM.
Yeah. All right. So, just going back a little bit. So can you tweet that wonderful debate from your Politics in the Pub? Can you tweet it with WikiBees hashtag, and then we can post it on, or yes, if anyone can find it, because it's a wonderful debate. Yeah.
Yes, we actually isolated that into one single clip, the confrontation between Susie and Mike. But in fact, it went on for longer than that. But sort of the main part, the first part of it, because he was a bit relentless. Then I tried to shut him down and said, you're only supposed to speak for 5 minutes at the beginning. And oh my God, I copped a lot of flack because of trying to shoot. But, it was like the Q&A was for the audience. That's their time, not
it was great viewing.
Well, yeah, you could feel the sparks flying. But yeah, so that's I can tweet that out as a separate clip, and then I will. And Christine Assange's talk is a separate clip, and then you've got the whole vigil.
Yeah, all of them are excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's quite good. Professor Stuart Rees's introduction was really, really good because he introduced it from a historical perspective, and really dealt very well with Julian's situation. He summed it up really well. He's a professor of political science, right? So an old hand at that. And he just won the Jerusalem Peace Prize. So, yeah, and he's also agreed to come on the vigil, the next vigil. So you'll be seeing more of Stuart Rees further down the track. He also founded the Sydney Peace Foundation, who gave Julian their gold medal for outstanding courage in 2011. So he's been a supporter of WikiLeaks and Julian for a very long time, but it's great to have professors on side because they can articulate their arguments really well, make great spokespeople. Not like us bumbling along. We know the facts, but we don't always represent them in the best, most articulate way. It's all right between us, but when you're speaking to highfalutin people, it's they will have more respect for the voice of a professor. But anyway, we have a gallery of stars, don't we, on the vigil? World famous people. Okay, so was there anything else coming in as questions or comments?
Lots. I've sort of fallen behind actually, so I'll just read out shout out to Isis Estrada. I'm planning to write to some Mexican influencers and motivate them to write about what's going on now. So Isis has her own Twitter account. Excuse me, Isis, if I mess it up. Mexicanos Unidos con Assange. So working independently of Unity for J at the moment, and Isis, you're welcome to just use us as a resource however you want. So or just work independently as you want. Hopefully Unity for J is an enabling organization that just helps you if you want some help with something. And you see with projects like yours, Kathy, like everyone getting together on a video clip, we do wonderful things together, don't we? The quality of our video team is amazing. And the quality, okay, so, and Stephanie, I hope that answered your question about the funding. I think Susie's really said that we don't want this organisation to be about money, right? So really minimise the amounts of money and the effects of money on the organisation. So as you were saying, Kathy, we just have individual projects that people can fund, and typically small amounts of money. Let's see what else. Just looking.
Yeah, I might add as well that I have been in close contact with Jose Rivera, who is an Ecuadorian journalist, and I would just like people to know, if they are looking in from Ecuador, if they want support aggregation for the media that they're putting out, well then just tag us, tag me if you like, and I will retweet and just make sure that because I think Unity for J has to support those voices in Ecuador. Look, Jose was a little bit nervous about coming on the vigil last time, the Wikibees last time. Was it vigil or Wikibees? But anyway, he was in the waiting room, you know, and then we got on the chat that he doesn't want to. He's a bit frightened. So we have to understand that situation, that you know, a journalist is being gagged, a vice president is being gagged. You know, it's a little bit hairy, the situation in Ecuador at the moment, and you know, there are big things happening. So we have to be very, very supportive of voices coming out of Ecuador, but also do our best to get their messages seen by as many people as possible. I'm very happy to commit to that, helping with translations of what they write as well, and not just the Google Translate, because that can be a bit clunky. Still, it's best that, you know, our writers they start with that, right? If you know, our translations team can work on it as well. But you can start with the Google Translate and then turn it into good English. You know, I can translate into French as well. So it's important that we help people in Ecuador, because they're not real happy at the moment and not real safe, some of them.
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes. Just on that, I said I would show people something about the Discord, how Discord works. Stephanie on YouTube was asking about it, and you know, it's a new thing. People, you know, they're a bit worried about using the new technology. So Yvonne said I should just show you on the screen. I'll do a share screen if that's all right, Yvonne, of the Discord, and show that we have a translations team.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Okay, so share. Does that work?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so this is my Discord account. Everybody else's will look somewhat similar, and you can see my mouse pointer, can't you?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what you see is this is the people on the right-hand column. The central column, the main column, is the chat that we're doing, the work that we're doing. And at the top, you can see at the moment that I'm in a Twitter channel. So this is the Twitter conversations we had up until recently. So this is just getting ready for today's Wikibees. I posted a couple of things. Susie posted that she wouldn't be able to come today. She's not feeling well. and so everybody knows what's going on. So I wanted to talk about the translation because we've got a whole, look, this is a translations area. Translations. Every language you can think of. We have people in there. Te Reo Maori is where I'm from, New Zealand, native language of Indigenous language of New Zealand. And of course, everything. So Spanish will be here, of course. I'll just click, I don't know what's here. We'll just see. So this is what people have been. Whenever there's a Spanish document that needs to be translated into English or the other way around, people can just come here and say, please, will you help me do that? So it's a wonderful resource. Also ISIS, if you're still there on YouTube, this is to show you also that if you want to join, we can do things like that. And there are all different, so translations is just one area. You can see all the different channels. So all you do is click on whichever channel you want, and this is the Wikibees channel. I don't even know what's in it. So there's news, communication, and all the other things.
Bruce, maybe tell them about when they arrive and roles, and also about all platforms.
Okay. So you can join by clicking on unityforj.com/Discord. And that link is on our Unity4J Twitter account. You can just click on it on some of our tweets. When you join, you say which of these channels you're interested in. So for example, I'm interested in Twitter, so I will be assigned a Twitter role. And let's see, how does that start? So introduce yourself. Does it start at introduce yourself? When you join, I think you come to introduce yourself. Is that correct?
Yeah, and you just say what you're interested in, and it's very clever. It's monitored, but it's also works with a bot as well that picks up keywords and automatically gives you access to the channels that you mention that's where you want to work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you click on that link and you come straight into here, and you can type your messages here. And you see this trusty bot. So it says, welcome to Unity4J Discord. Oh yeah, welcome to Unity4J Discord. Together we're going to save Julian Assange. Please introduce yourself. Oh, then head to role to figure out how you can help. So what you do there is, you see you mouse over there, you click on role, and you move to the roles channel. Okay, so these are all the different roles that you can do. You can do analytics, bloggers, design team. There's a whole lot of them. If you have a law degree, you can go to Legal Beagle. Which one would you be, Kathy?
I'm in video.
Video, okay. So please answer all the questions that are true for you with the thumb up emoji. I'll see if I can join a role, I'll see if I can join video, if that's all right, Kathy.
Yeah, I didn't do it that way, actually, myself. I wasn't in anything for a while because I'm such a lone wolf, if you like. I just, I've trained myself to be able to do all the different things so I wouldn't have to apply for grants and wait to when I could get money to pay people. So I just make my own shit and work alone most of the time. But then after a while, I said, well, I guess I should be in video. So I asked somebody to put me in there. I very naughtily didn't go through all that. I didn't answer those questions, but that's the way that it worked. Why don't you try and get into video? You're welcome. Well, there is no mod for video. We don't have any rulers. I'm in there, but I'm not the boss or anything. But I am supposed to be the coordinator of the documentary, because that's a really big project and very complicated.
Yes.
We could get into strife otherwise. Just get
Well,
turn into hot
I
mess.
don't think it works for me because I'm not new here, so I do something different. But this is someone who's arrived here. His name is Numerif. And so you arrive here and they say, are you religious or spiritual? Which would be the interfaith channel in here. And if you are, you do a thumb up. If you're not, I think you just hit return. Are you a defender of truth, journalistic integrity? You can, if you do that, you can join the media corrections channel, and so on and so on. Okay, and if you don't like, well, it won't let me type. I'll do it from another channel, just for an example. I'll go back to Twitter. So
that's wonderful, though. That's really clever, because
yes.
just sort asks people what they're interested in, and it's like a dating service, matches you up with channel right.
Yeah, it's really nice. But say you don't like it. Say you say, oh, I don't like this setup. I want to speak to a human being. You can do that anytime you want. You say you type helpful.
Oh, then you might get somebody like me. I got Trusty Bot told me I was helpful.
Oh, that's good. Quite a few people see this, but that's fine. Just demonstration for WikiBees. You type the message you want to say. You say, I'm new here, please can you help me? And a human being will come along. Anyone of the helpful people, and they'll start a conversation with you, just a chat conversation. So what I'm saying is it's a very easy setup to use, and you can be chatting. And so, for example, you join Twitter or you join Facebook in this case, and once you join Facebook, you just click on the Facebook channel on the left-hand column, and you'll be here. You scroll down with your mouse scroll button, and this is what people are talking about at the moment. And you can say hi. You can say whatever you want. And you started. You say, is there anything I can help with? Or I have a great idea. There's even an ideas channel that's especially for ideas. Where is it? Oh, look. Bagheera's here. Helpful person. Oh, this is important. So there's a red button which says new mentions. If you press on that red bar, it shows you the new mentions in the Twitter channel. So you go back to the Twitter channel. Oh, it's Bagheera here. And she says, hi, Bruce King, helpful person here. Please show the rules channel in your demo, please. Oh, okay. So Bagheera's come to help, but I happen to know that Bagheera is also in charge of the rules channel. So she wants us to show the rules channel. Okay, I'll show the rules channel. New mentions. There's another new mentions. I'll time out. There might be a problem somewhere. Someone said, looking good, Bruce. Okay. Whenever someone has a message.
We're all live with each other all the time, basically. And I get notifications coming the top of my screen as soon as people send me a message on Discord, so I don't have to keep them waiting for an answer.
Yeah, I was trying to find you. It didn't work out too well, but I'll see if I can find you this time, okay? But I'll go to the rules channel because Bagheera wants me to go to the rules channel. So you just have to scroll up and down until you find the rules channel. Rules, here it is. Actually, you notice some of them are bright and some of them are not so bright. The ones that are bright means that there are new posts since you last looked in the channel. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So let's go to rules. And it says the rules. And Bagheera's in charge of the channel, and these are the rules. Welcome, this server exists to fight for Julian Assange, basically. And here are the rules. All personal politics are to be left at the door. So people don't really talk about politics in here.
Well, we do. That was a point that Mike had made, and it is paradoxical, but because we have to discuss the implications of certain things that happen in Ecuador, for example, I guess it's a political context, but we've got one common purpose, and the thing is to not introduce things that are going to alienate, opinions about people's affiliations that are going to alienate them. It's not productive.
Yes.
Not useful for our goal. This is something we all agree on: human rights, rule of law. For God's sake, it's in everybody's interest to agree on those things and work together to get the base right.
So it says conversation only relates to activities to help Julian Assange. Oh, I think we're pretty relaxed about that. Okay, any conversation that is unrelated to the above, I might get in trouble with Bagheera. I'm sorry, Bagheera, but might get you in trouble, I think. But we're pretty relaxed, is what I'd like to say. People here work together very productively, and it's wonderful. So I'll go back to the Twitter channel. I'll try and get you on the Twitter channel, Kathy, if that's all right.
Sure.
So I'll try and find you, which I couldn't do, unfortunately, before. So you have to do @ which means someone's name. And these are the people I've contacted recently. I could just click on any one of these. If I click on that, I'd say hi to Hope. Click on that, I'd say hi to Joe. But I'll try and say hello to Kathy. So I'm going to try and type Kathy.
Didn't I just pass?
Kathy. Kathy Vogan. See, I started typing Kathy and it auto-completed to Kathy Vogan. So I just click on Kathy Vogan and you need to do that to talk to the person. So I say, hi, Kathy. What a wonderful demonstration. And as soon as I do that, Kathy gets a banner on her computer saying somebody has contacted her and will actually have that message. And so, Kathy, if you happen to be on Discord, you can reply. If not, you can just leave it until later, and it just sits there until Kathy decides she wants to reply.
You're welcome.
Yeah, great. Can they see it to me?
Can they see the reply?
Yes, I'd say so.
So a very important channel in Discord for everybody. Well, two. Creative approvals is one I go to quite often. Let me just find it, because I tend to sort of just scroll past them when they're grayed out and there's no new messages. I wondered why before. So down in creative, let's get to creative. I'll need to screen share to do this, won't I? So maybe you can turn your share off.
Okay. So you're taking over the screen share from now, okay?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, stop share.
Okay, so I'm going to share my Discord. And share. All right, can you see my screen now in Discord?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so let me just go to all platforms first. So this is a channel I check the most because everything here has been checked out for accuracy. Also in the creative team, people doing memes and stuff. I've done memes. I recycled one from 2011, and Susie said, "I can't read it." And, you know, I was like, oh God, the shame. Of course you can't. I really have to use a different font for that, because it worked well on full screen video. It was actually a video still, but it didn't work as a small meme. So once those kinds of communication, people give advice, you know, to each other, and once the meme is working really, really well, then you know, people will come in and on the right hand side. So if I were to I mean, we're in all platforms now. I'm not a mod. I don't like, really don't like being in control, but if I go down here to creative approvals, right? So if you've made a new clip or something and you want to show it to everybody, there's a great speaker there, Nozomi. She's a very, very good friend of mine, wonderful writer. She's written a book about WikiLeaks. She's participated in the WikiLeaks files as well, I believe, which is should be read as well. But there you can see, for example, here's a new thing that has Propaganda, who makes wonderful videos. He makes the stop motion Lego movies, which is don't let me get into the nobody cares about Julian Assange thing with my dog, because we've got a routine there, but I'm very tempted. But yeah, so he wants us to take a look at it. Everybody takes a look at it. And then on the right hand side, you've got the little icon thing. So you can click on that icon. And if you click on this one, you can say, I approve of this. This is ready for publication. So once I'm not exactly sure, if it's certain people who are on the approvals team, they have to check legal aspects as well of things that are written and stuff for legality. There's no defamation or anything, although we don't usually do that kind of thing. We're based in scientific journalism, so we always deliver all of our evidence. But if I were to want to approve that, I would click here, and then it's got 2 approvals now. Now, once it reaches that, I don't know what the threshold is, it just gets transferred then to all platforms. And that's why I go to all platforms as often as possible, because these are all of our comms and memes, videos, all kinds of things that have been cleared for publication on all platforms. So whether you're a Twitter person or a Steemit or Reddit or YouTube or whatever, Facebook person, you can then go to this link and then share it far and wide, because this is the messy, these are the creative works that we all agree that the things that we want to say, that we want to show to the world, that we think are really good and effective, and we do that as a team as well. So yeah, you should go to all platforms as often as possible, and you'll always see that widened out because things are being approved all the time. So this is actually the last place before it goes out to the world. Yeah. Can I'll just stop sharing my screen. I think we've covered Discord, don't you think? There's a couple more features, you can talk as well, and there's a @everyone message, so everybody will get, say if something really dramatic has happened, Susie can send an @everyone message, and then everybody gets it at the same time. So it's very effective for keeping us all networked wherever we are. And incidentally, when you sent your message, Bruce, I had notification from at the top of my screen that was there, so that will overlay any program that I'm working on. So it's we don't lose touch with people unless we actually physically displace ourselves. I was away, not at home and on the road. So I just wanted to stop the share, and I just want to say one more thing. about the documentary. So as I say, we're in the pre-editing or pre-production phase. And pre-production can mean all kinds of things, but including setting up the hardware, setting up the system, getting everything in place so that their work can begin. Can also mean funding, but also, I mean, then you go into production, and production, well, largely our production is done. In terms of we've already filmed for the vigils. The subject of the Unity for Jade doco is us. It's the movement. It's the people in the movement. So, you know, the vigils are very, very important. They are, you know, apart from people, myself, it's very well-known people that you know, they're great spokespeople for Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, and they even, you know, they praise them. They praise the Unity for J team as well. But you know, this is really about the people, the 3,000 odd people that got together, all kinds of knowledge and talent, skills, that decided to fuse all that together with one common purpose. And it's a very, very good story to tell. If it's well told, it will inspire a lot more people to come in, and suddenly gradually we'll be a very mighty army. So what we still need to do in terms of production is collect material, because what we decided, Susie suggested, and I think I agreed and everyone else agreed at that point, that the vigil content should only be about 20% of the finished doco. The other 80% is the material that we have created, these wonderful clips, these memes, the writings, our Pinterest, but also personal portraits. You know, it's actually a really good opportunity for everybody to just take a moment to showcase their work and say, I'm a composer, I write songs, I'm in my studio at the moment, and show that we are real people, we are grassroots, and to show also how inspired we are. So we need those personal portraits. 1 minute I thought would be a good duration, and as Susie said last time, we may not use the whole minute, and we may sort of cross-cut between them. And we'll bring them in at different points in time, but it's really about what we've done, who we are, and the history of the movement, how it just started off with one mission to get Julian reconnected. And then Lee Stranahan was the person who said, well, you know what we can do? Maybe we can give Julian a movement. And so we set up the whole Unity for J Discord, and now we're getting a collaborative editing platform, and we're turning into a bloody media organization of some import that I've been told is outperforming the compliant mainstream media. Compliant is about the most neutral word you could use, but we are short-circuiting some of the disgusting reporting, even about most recent events. I read one article that said that Julian Assange's problem with Ecuador, or their problem with him, is that he doesn't look after himself or his cat. That he doesn't clean up, and now we had we have a comedy show in Australia which is called Mad as Hell. It's really good. Sean McAuliffe, or McAuliffe, I think some people say. So he joked about that, but for the first time, it was just so I was so joyful. The target of the joke wasn't Julian. The target of the joke was the lousy reporting. When because it was it's about he doesn't clean the bathroom or clean up after his cat, and he said, make him do the washing up, and of course the shopping as well. And then he said, but although I would I would clean my bathroom and look after my cat if Telstra, which is our main service provider for the internet, if Telstra would just fix my internet connection. So that was really good. But we are actually correcting all of the not all of it, but we are doing a great job of correcting misinformation about total disinformation and misinformation, because to tell you the truth, most of the ordinary people that I meet that don't do the internet that often have got no idea what's happening to Julian Assange. They, something, he didn't even know he was in the embassy 6 years later. Isn't he the rapist? What? So it's terrible that today that the word rape, the rape word, is still being used against Julian, that he's trying to avoid, extradition for rape.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And saying that that's still the case, even though they questioned him, there was, insufficient there was no evidence, and the case was dropped, and it had actually been delayed on the request of the British Crown Prosecution Service, that those emails come out. But you see, all of this stuff that is supportive of Julian Assange, and also condemning the gross injustice and the bullying by multiple countries, not only of him, but of Ecuador itself, all that doesn't go out to the masses. All of the, the little bit that can be used to criticize him and malign him, and, that's expanded upon and even distorted. If you think about somebody who's not looking after themselves, if that's true, well, you would, most of us would say, well, what's wrong with him? Oh, that's right, he's in solitary confinement. Oh, yeah, that's right, he's being tortured. But turning that into he's got dirty socks, he's just a slovenly person that doesn't look after himself, or his poor little cat. Look at the cat. The cat looks really happy, well fed. And then in the same article, they had to hide to say that he was obsessed with his cat. He neglects it, but he's obsessed with it. I mean, how can you do both at the same time? So in fact, our role is also to get the truth out. It may seem to people like me sometimes to go back over the whole Swedish situation, which I was reporting on for a number of years. Even from the whole lead up and writing all of the talking about what was at stake, what was likely to happen, knowing Swedish law, learning all about that. It seems kind of like, oh, I've got to talk about that again, but people are just coming in. And my neighbor, I've recruited, but once she actually heard what was going on, she went, "Oh my God, I can make T-shirts! And she went telling all of her friends that didn't even know who he was. A lot of people don't even know that he's an Australian, that he's a Walkley Award winner, that he has won over a dozen international awards, including from Amnesty International, Time Magazine's Person of the Year, People's Choice, but he was also runner-up and Critics' Choice. For God's sake, this is the world's greatest journalist that is being tortured because of the truthful information that he publishes that people don't want to get out because they want to get away with their, what they're doing, they want to, it's always about corruption. It's always about wrongdoing, law breaking. And it's, unfortunately, it's so tragic. We are so stupid that we never focus on, well, the media never focuses on the crimes, which is they're now going to become a victim of. It's clear. If there's a complete bypassing and the death of the First Amendment in America, what happens to them? And I think they are starting to realize that now. But so it's very, very important for us to keep telling people what's going on and trying to keep it brief, because nobody likes I tend to talk too much, sorry, but that's why we are so important, and our documentary is going to be absolutely awesome.
Yes, it's
and we'll get it into all the festivals. I'm known as a filmmaker around the world, and documentary more to do with creative art, video art, but people are willing to put my stuff in festivals, so I might be able to to push it in all kinds of cultural festivals as well, but especially in France, where I lived for 16 years, because the French really loved Julian Assange. Mm-hmm. Jeremy Zimmerman lives there. And they had Julian come and speak at a wonderful conference in Paris about projecting about the future of technology. Julian spoke wonderfully. Didn't really talk about the political situation, his personal situation, all that much. It was just, he was the futurist in that one. That's a great one to actually watch. It's about, he talks for about 3/4 of an hour, and Julian is, has studied physics, and he's, he's not just a journalist. He's also got incredible computer skills and also science in the sciences as well.
Yes, he's an amazing person. Yes,
he's a polyglot.
Yes,
Renaissance man.
Yes. So people on the channel are getting a bit away from me. I try and catch up a little bit. There are a couple more questions about Discord. Is it all right if I go back there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll stop.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're good. You take over. Yeah, I'm not screen sharing.
Okay, so I have to do share again. So Stephanie had a question. Can you see the Discord at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
It's not actually full screen, but for me, but that probably is for others. Fine. Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. It happened that I hope propaganda doesn't mind me showing this. This is a direct message, like a private message between him and me, or her and me. I think it's a him, but.
So do I. I'm not really sure now, but I assumed it was a him.
Okay.
And by the way, we don't try to probe into people's real names. I'm very transparent about that, because I was already known as an artist, so I did hide my identity for 2 years, but let them alone.
So this is good. Propaganda's listening. I just happened to be in here because Propaganda had sent me this message before. Bruce, show the YouTube stream how to share the Discord server link, please. So while we were having this conversation, a banner appeared on my screen, which was Propaganda saying it sent me a message on Discord. So while we're doing these shows, while we're working on a computer, all of us have the Discord server sitting on our computer, and we're monitoring it because it's helpful. We get helpful hints. So I'll just show you a couple of things. So Propaganda also appears here on the people who I have direct messages with. I hope no one's embarrassed that I'm showing this. He has a green light on, which means he's here at the moment. Kathy has a yellow light. So Kathy, that means you're not actively monitoring Discord at the moment. Susie has a green light. So Susie's here. I hope you're doing well, Susie. Cat Member's here. I won't go through the list, sorry. But it's important to know, if you want to send a private message to someone, you go right to this top left-hand corner and click on this one. So depending on your setup, you'll have this one, and you have this one, which is Unity for J. I have a third one, which is the Internet Party, because I also use Discord for Internet Party stuff that I'm involved in. But, okay, so I had a private message with Propaganda, and it was very helpful, but I want to go back to the main Unity for J. So I click on this, and I'll be back to the screen that we saw before. Now, that's to answer a question that Stephanie had. My left-hand column doesn't look like yours. And yes, that's true. And the reason is that it's customized, so depending on what your roles are. If you're not interested in translations, you won't see all of these translations channels. They just won't appear when you scroll down. So I tend to have more channels than most people because I have a lot of roles on here. But that's the reason. You only see the roles that you're interested in. So that's the answer to that question. And what else do people? Some people are praising the Discord. It's very easy to use. And that's the main thing. If you want to get onto Discord, just go to Unity, type out unityforj.com in your browser, and then /Discord, and you'll automatically. I don't know if you have to click on anything else, but you'll get to here very easily, and then you can set up. You just follow the procedure. Or if you don't like the way it's set up, you can contact someone at any time. You can go @helpful, or you can go, if you want to speak to me, you go @Bruce King, and it will auto-complete. I'll show that now. You already saw that before. I hardly even need to start, and it's already got a Bruce King, but by the time I've typed that many letters, there are only about 3 people that it could be, and yes, it's Bruce King. So then you do a space, and then you type your message, talking. Talking to myself. And everyone on the Twitter channel sees that, which is unfortunate, but it's in a good cause. So I hope that's answered your question. I'll see if there's any more questions on Discord. Stephanie says, you've helped me so much this evening, Bruce and Kathy.
You're welcome. Bruce, I will just say one more thing actually about Discord. So because yesterday I was trying to demo the documentary folders, and my voice was really muffled because of this. I'm using my laptop. My other one's being repaired at the moment. So can I just screen share again to do that?
Yeah, I'll do
one last thing, because it's also a call for content, which could be the thing that we finish on if there's no other questions that come up. But let me just go back to my Discord. Where is it? Can't find Discord now for some reason. Isn't it there? Weird. I'll just do desktop 1. Okay. Yeah, so there's all kinds of things open today. So I'll just go to Discord. All right, so just finally, because this is the last I really want to say at the moment, I really want to call for, is your team portraits, okay? And also video logging. So as I said, now you've seen the editing platform, and you will be able to, once it's up, you will be able to upload your portraits directly to the editing server. Yeah. For the moment, people are just really keen to get started. So in an intermediary stage, preparatory stage, I'm saying, well, okay, if you do them, you can upload them to YouTube. It will be useful to upload them to YouTube and then post a link to it here. So at least we've got the list of all the links, so that we can kind of get an idea of what kind of portraits are coming in. I'd like to see people in their studios, out in the street, at live events, a variety. You can imagine what's going to make the documentary interesting is if we are not just all in our bedroom at the webcam, but we show a little bit about, what we're doing as actions as well, but also about what we do as artists. Shameless self-promotion for a moment or two, and because that's going to give all that value to your decision to offer that to this one common cause that we have. So we will take links here for the moment, but eventually they will all get uploaded now. So in our production phase, just getting back to that, that's the one thing we do have to shoot, and that's the one thing that we are really short of. If we are the subject of this documentary, despite those couple of 100 hours of material, they're all vigils, right? The bulk of them. We have your wonderful clips that people like Propaganda are making, but there's been just umpteen fantastic clips. So we need we're going to collect all of those. They'll be our source material, but also those personal portraits. We need to get onto them now. We need to actually start making entertaining material that's going to be part of this documentary. And that's material we're going to need 80% of the time. The other thing we can do, this is a little bit more problematic, that it's, we're not doing it within the editing program, but you can do it, is to make these lists of time codes, because all of those are going to become those markers on the timeline for easy retrieval of grabs of people saying this and that. Say we want to do a segment about Ecuador, so we'll be able to actually very, very easily, we can group these into bins. We've got all the things that have been said about Ecuador in the editing program. But for the moment, what's useful is we need to go through all of it, all of the vigils, and just make, as if you're taking notes in a lecture, in point form, with only 6 words or less, describe each topic as it's being discussed. Now, that can be across the 2 people in the interview, right? So you might, you would also put the time code where it starts. And then your next time time code will be where the next topic starts. So in fact, it's just a list of points that all of this is going to be, all of those are going to become markers, and all your little descriptions are going to be manually copy and pasted into Frame.io. But we're not losing time that work gets done now, because it has to be done. Yeah, otherwise we'll be totally lost. And not just searching for the good bits, because that's already editing, that's excluding stuff. We just need to have everything, so we can pick up everything, in no time at all, that is about Ecuador. Yeah, without just going through all of the good bits films to see if there's anything about Ecuador still in there. So that's, but also, you don't want to edit by topic yet. You don't want to do any editing at all, because if we want to extend something, we can't do it. We've lost the time code. So sorry, getting geeky again. And also, I want you, all of the clips that you have made already, I want you to paste links to them in video clips. You can do that now in Discord. So we are using Discord in the interim until we start using Frame.io. We'll still use Discord for doco discussion, I would imagine, but gradually we'll start doing our discussion in Frame.io as well. So does that seem clear to you, Bruce? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can, Kathy.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Yeah, that sounds great. I have a request of you, actually, which is that there's a lot that can be done with the outtakes. So you're going to have a wonderful polished final movie, but there's a lot of extra. You were talking about MP4 short clips. Anything that can be posted on Twitter that's interesting and shows people supporting Julian Assange, it's wonderful for raising the consciousness about Julian Assange. So my question is to think of ways that you can add value and add extra information and all the wonderful footage that you're going to get in, and from my point of view, get it on Twitter. I really like the really short clips that people just look on Twitter and it's like 1 minute and they're engaged and Julian Assange and this interesting person is supporting Julian Assange. Maybe I should do that too.
Yeah, I've actually got a little film that I've made that I haven't published. I'm saving it for the doco, and it's a blooper, right?
Yeah.
It's a blooper of me trying to record a statement for propaganda because he wanted me to say, I'm Kathy Vaughan and I support Julian Assange's right to publish. Easy. So I was trying to get it right, and then my computer started making noises and stuff, and then me and my dog get into the routine about the Lego routine. So we have an entertaining routine where I do the reporter's voice, the mainstream media Lego mainstream media reporter's voice. So that's a blooper I'm saving for the doco. So let's try and get some comic elements into it as well, because what we want to do is touch people's hearts with this documentary. You want to you show how can you miss on that objective when everybody here has heart and is honest and rigorous. But we want to show that we also have a sense of humor too. We're just human. We're not propagandists, you know. propaganda. So we can be pretty good at persuasion, but we want to always tell the truth. So those are the kinds of things. But we can laugh at ourselves as well and show the bloopers. I'm not going to show it now. Might end up on the cutting room floor because it's so silly. Okay. Am I still screen sharing? No. Okay. Well, unless there's any more questions, maybe we can sort of call it a day. What do you think, Bruce?
I'll have one last look at the YouTube channel to see what people are saying. Here's a question.
Yeah.
From Stephanie. Kathy, will the logs already done be shown so we don't just duplicate other people's work?
Sorry. Yes, thank you. I am a bloody idiot, aren't I? So when you do that logging, number one, Joe in Discord, I have asked her to keep track and even allocate. So we decided the best way, because I thought whole vigils, because I would just transfer whole vigils, and she suggested that was way too long. It was too awkward for people and daunting. So in fact, it's just going to be the isolated speakers. You'll take a single interview and do that. So she's got a chart where she will tick off. We've got a tick off box of allocated, in progress, or completed. And when it's completed, you put your back to screen share for a second. You will put your in here. So you will upload. There you go. There's one there already. I can show you. This, I think this is it. This chart. Oh, that's the chart. Let's see Joe's chart, so she knows. Oh, what am I doing? Not really sure what. It's Excel, so I'll just have to open that in OpenOffice. It'll take a moment to open, but what I will show you is the. Oh, this is fantastic. Unity text. This is a bloody amazing song that Eshless, I think his username has written. That is the Unity for J anthem, which he's working on at the moment, and asked me if I'd like to sing it. And then I've asked someone else if they'd like to sing it, who's related to one of the Pointer sisters, and she said yes. So that could be quite good. We're sort of doing that at the moment. So let me just get back in here. Oh, right. Thanks a lot. We'll have to see it. You can just go in there and look at it yourselves. But also there is an example. She said to me, how does this look? And I said, well, that looks perfect, as some notes that she'd already done. I'll just scroll back and see if I can find them. That's still that one. That's my introduction. When people come in, you can just read that at the top. I should have really pinned it. I think that's still the same thing. Oh, well, I'm just going to have to locate it for you, and I'll just oh, hang on. Yeah, here's a logging thing as well for the chart. But she actually went in and logged one interview in the vigil, and she had just this time code and a brief description of what was being said. They changed the topic, next time code, six words to describe the next thing that's being said, and then you up here in, just because they're light files, they're just text with text edit or notepad, depending on Mac or PC. You can just upload them by clicking on the plus button, and then it will open up your window so that you can select a file you want to upload, and say I wanted to, I don't know, yeah, I think he wouldn't mind if I share. Let's just share. No, that's a bad place to do it. But you would choose your file, and it'll give you a. Oh, I'm going to upload this to the wrong place. So let's just get it to right. I'll just upload this one. The lyrics of the Unity for J song. You're going to love them. I'm just going to upload them anyway because I've got them, and then I'll put them in the right place. So then this happens. You can put a comment. Amazing. I never do shouty fingers, but I will this time. Ew. How about thinking about what Unity? I'm typing like a spastic. I don't know why. Anthem. And hit enter, and it just uploads, right? And just to give you guys, maybe this is a great note to finish on. So let's look at oh, right, there it is, because it will download then. If there's a clip there, and it's a YouTube embed, it will just open within Discord. There we go. So, Bruce, can you see that? We are mothers, we are fathers, we are sisters, we are brothers. We are young, we are old, and we won't let our souls be sold. So come on, join us, humanity. Yes, come on, join us, because in secret they have schemed to trap us in their new world order. I'm not phrasing it properly. I've got a version of him singing it. Forging a global empire with threats, torture, and murder. Resistance would be futile without knowing what goes on. So WikiLeaks revealed the truth about their blood-stained throne. Our governments have stacked their cards against humanity, but we'll hold them accountable. There's no impunity. We, the people, are now the jury. Their empire will fall because justice is indivisible. It must apply to all. So come on, join us, and they will fall. Come and join us, so say we all. The images they have portrayed of our countries, the poor and rich, is nothing but a narrative to control and to bewitch. Every war they've started has been based on spin and lies. Thanks to WikiLeaks, now we can see the truth with our own eyes. They're using mainstream media as a weapon of mass distraction, but we have something they don't have. It's called love and compassion. So we no longer take their word. There is no evidence. Their evil smears and witch hunts have no legal precedence. Today, they bombed a school bus, and those children are now gone. There are no words for how we feel. We can't let this go on. So come, join us, because we care. Yes, come, join us. Show that you care. I can't go on, so I'm getting a bit choked up. So you can read it. I think it's an amazing song, and we're going to do our best. He's a really great composer. Yeah, I've asked Alison Pointer, who's been a great Assange supporter for I don't know, for about the last 7 or 8 years. She's a filmmaker, a lovely, sweet girl. And I just found out that, you know, her aunt is one of the Pointer sisters, because I just happened to ask her, oh, your name's Pointer. She used to call herself Petite Pointer. And she was always doing these petitions for Julian. And I said, can you sing? And she said, yeah, I can sing. So then I said, do you want to sing this one? And she said, oh, God, yeah. So there you go. We're going to have a gospel choir or maybe in the background. God knows. Who knows? It's pretty jazzy and up-tempo. But I don't want to play somebody's rough drafts. But you get a picture of, so it's a long one. It's like that Makana Occupy songs. That was a really good one for the Occupy movement. And of course, all the Bob Dylans, you know, going right back to the 60s. The times they are changing. They actually changed the world, those songs. So we really get the people emotionally here. I mean, look, I just have to start. See, I'm a bit of an empath, and then I can hardly get to the end without choking up. So these things communicate, you know. People see your sincerity. That's why it's important to make those clips and express what you feel, because that's going to make it a great film. All right. I'll stop sharing now. Get my hanky. That's silly.
Yeah, it's up to us, really, isn't it? The mainstream media aren't getting the message out. It's up to us to get the message out. And you're showing how we do it. And people are seeing how Discord works, you know, how we work together cooperatively. And it's a pretty good platform, Discord. I do have to go. So final check on the YouTube. When I was saying Stephanie, that was Stephanie Marcilia. There's also Stephanie Gonzalez, who you might know already, Kathy, because she's talking about, I want to add more vids. Bear with me while I try to navigate upload to Discord, which is just what you were showing, I think. I will also send links in case my upload doesn't work. Well, that was a good demonstration, so hopefully that's working now. And I genuinely have to go now, and it's pretty much time to wrap up anyway. And that was a really good note to end it on, wasn't it? That song, Kathy?
Yeah, and I didn't get to the end. It's all the lyrics are fantastic. Yeah, I really congratulate him. But there's been so many great writings that our people have done. You know, I think just showing people your sincerity and your truth, your authenticity. You know, people go, oh my God, they look at some of these politicians and it just freaks you out because you know they're insincere. So it's good to see honest people coming together that, and you know, are fans of scientific journalism. Well, it's a natural step for an academic because that's where you have to write your thesis. You know, you have to cite all your sources so people can check that that's true. And we're blessed with the original documents. That's what WikiLeaks gave the world, and it's been great for academics, lawyers. Saved lives.
Yeah, we have very good quality people here. You're talking about their compassion, but also they're very good at what they do, the work.
Oh yeah, they are. We're creating real, like, great logos and graphics. So you know, there are a lot of people like me that do this kind of thing for a living, you know, and well, do you want to just do what you're told all day long? I mean, working for the man or a broadcaster, whatever, that's the last thing you're really paid to do, is think for yourself. You know, it's kind of lowest common denominator with material with very often the motivation to sell or something.
Yeah.
And this is a great opportunity to put your professional skills to the things that you love to do, and nobody tells you what to do. Nobody's over your shoulder, and that's the great thing about not needing money. It gives you that freedom to and if you let everybody in a movement like this, this is so inclusive, we let everybody gets to knock themselves out. And then the process of review is just people saying, sometimes it's even like, you weren't, they say, I wasn't able to do that little animation well because I don't know 3D. And someone will jump in and say, well, I can do that part for you, or I can translate that, or I can proofread that for you. So, there's a lot of helpful people in Unity for Jade that don't want the credit. They just want to, help the person who has the great idea to make it as even better. Everybody's their own director, runs their own show. Yeah, it's very cool.
Stephanie Gonzalez was saying exactly that in the comments. She said, we should be getting CE credits. I know I will be updating my resume.
Yeah.
So it's fun and we're learning stuff. It's pretty exciting sometimes, like in that story that you had before. But yeah, we really need to wrap up. So thanks for everyone who's viewing and participating in the chat, the YouTube chat, and everyone who showed up, everyone who helped out. Yvonne Kim, we couldn't have done it without you. And we'll be back tomorrow at the same time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time in the US, however that translates into your time. And it may be Susie. Susie's still got the green light in Discord, so she's probably still up and watching this. And I hope you're feeling better, Susie. And if your voice is not good tomorrow, don't push it. But we always love to see you on here. This is all for Julian Assange. Remember, he's in a very difficult situation and a very unstable situation. And it's wonderful that we can help. And Wikibees is working very well. And it's important what we're doing. So thanks, everyone. Anything else that you'd like to say, Kitty?
I'll just say goodbye. I was just laughing because your head was just getting lower and lower in the frame, and I was starting to think of that robot head in Alien. It was just like it was starting to look like a decapitated head. Hope you get well soon, Susie, and that all is well otherwise over there in your exile. And I hope that we managed to cover for you, because we did end up getting to talk about other things I did in the documentary. But hope that we covered for you well, and also to everybody who's come in and asked those questions. Couldn't have covered it so well without those questions reminding me, but how do you do this and how do you do that? Thank you so much for being with us, and hopefully we get Susie's voice back as quickly as possible. So I think we'll sign out. Who's the host? You, Abon? Are you the host, or?
Yeah, I'll transition out. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
All right, we're